Welcome back to Metals, Money, and Markets Weekly, week ending April 13th. And actually, it's an abbreviated week. So, Mickey, the story continues to be a geopolitical risk.
Yeah, basically, Rob, markets hate surprises, and there's been some geopolitical surprises over the last week or so, or 10 days. Uh, but gold reacted very well. It was up 4 days in a row. It hit a 6 month high and actually closed at that 6 month high yesterday. Silver had a very good week, up 3%, 1851. We haven't seen that level since, geez, I'm looking down here, mid-February, perhaps, end of February. Platinum was up 2.1% to 972. Palladium bucked the trend down almost a percent to 794, and that's an industrial metal. And copper, the other industrial metal we track, did not have a good week. It was down 2.3%. There's a variety of reasons for it hitting a 2 month low. Came out 2016 production, world production went above 20 million tons this year, or last year, up over 5%. China data came in, weak producer price index. We have a rising yuan against the US dollar. Iron ore and coal prices cratered over the last week, and that I think helped take copper down. On the positive side, there's a strike at Tocopala, big Peruvian mine. So we remain bullish in copper for the longer term.
On the energy side, oil, not much there, but certainly 3 weeks in a row up, and uranium pretty much flat.
Yep, uranium was flat. We'll go there first at 2350. That's It's been basically there for 10 days in a row. Oil had pretty good week, up 1.2% to 52.91. It actually went above $53 a barrel a couple of times during the week. This is really driven once again by geopolitical risk. Inventories still remain high, U.S. well over 500 million barrels. Turns out China's got 1.7 billion barrels in inventory. On the other hand, China is now the world's largest importer of crude oil.
On the currency side, as expected, when the dollar's off, the euro and the loonie rally, but some language by the Donald here, little pressure on the dollar.
Yeah, the Donald did it again, said the dollar was too high and it reacted. It's also reacting once again to this geopolitical risk. Closed the week at 100.56, down over 0.5%. But, things going on like Tillerson goes over to Russia and comes out of meetings in Russia and says that Russian-U.S. relations are at an all-time low, and Trump drew a line in the sand with Syria and said Russians pick your side, and that weighed on the market. Euro was really flat over the week, closed at 106 and change. Did not really react with the downturn in the U.S. dollar. Meanwhile, loonie did, and maybe that's catching up with the price of oil. It closed above 75 cents for the first time in a couple of weeks at 0.7509.
And as you laid out, Tillerson and all the geopolitical fireworks certainly translated into the markets this week.
Well, certainly did. All U.S. markets were down 4 days in a row. The Dow closed at 2453. We haven't seen that level since, I'm looking at a chart here, since mid-February, down 1%. S&P 500 likewise down 1% at 2329. NASDAQ is giving up a little bit too, down 1.2% at 5805. Geopolitical risk is weighing in, and earnings season is starting to kick in. Big banks came out yesterday, and that was negative on the market on their earnings. One thing to note, though, is the VIX, the volatility index for S&P 500 futures, hit 16, continues to rise, and we haven't seen those levels since before the election.
Yeah, and on the last one, the venture, 3 weeks in a row up.
Yeah, another good week for the venture, up 1.3% to 835. It's approaching, what is it, maybe 10 points off its 52-week high. closed up 1.3%. The encouraging thing for me in this market was that for the first time in the month, we had 2 days with over 100 million shares traded on the venture itself. Now, that does not include the alternative markets, so you can probably multiply that by 2.5. So maybe 250 million shares traded a couple of days this week. So that's very encouraging, and it looks like we're on an uptick for the Toronto Venture Exchange.
Well, long weekend. A lot of news could transpire by Monday, so we'll keep our eye on that. So appreciate the insight, Mickey, and look forward to catching up with you next week.
Likewise, Rob. Thanks a lot.